Hey guys, welcome back. This is Total Fitness Podcast. My name is Matthew.
I'm Walter.
And today we are going to be talking about client needs versus wants. So we'll jump right into it. So the way we're going to talk about this podcast, or through this podcast, is not through clients we train now, obviously, but we're going to take unnamed clients we've had in the past as examples. And basically we're going to say what they may have wanted, what we felt they needed, and what they felt they needed. Because there's a huge disconnect, and I think now you see it on Instagram all the time, and there's quite a few YouTube videos and there's quite a few other podcasts even talking about this issue of what does the client actually need versus what do they actually want. So I think there's quite a big disconnect, and there's a lot of trainers out there, there's a lot of coaches, there's a lot of fitness influencers that are trying to say, yeah, your wants are exactly what you need, so pay me all the money so I can get you there. And if you mess up, it's 100% your fault.
Because you weren't doing the work.
Yeah, where it should be, yeah, it's great to have those wants, but you need this. It's the same, I want a new car, but I really need to pay off my mortgage. That kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Take it away.
Well, I think that, that's pretty much the story of life, though. It
Fair
is
enough.
The car versus the mortgage, the new clothes versus the whatever, the going out with your friends versus saving money to buy the house that you say you want.
Yeah.
But you don't have a down payment.
Yeah.
And we have a hard time in this society with deciding what it is we actually want and what we actually need.
Yeah.
So when a client comes to me and they say, I want fitness body number 3, according to Instagram.
It's the select the haircut style.
Yeah, pretty much. Then I have to start asking hard questions about what they're willing to do to get there, how much of a sacrifice they want to make, how they can see themselves proceeding, and what kind of time frame they have. Because honestly, I've got 3 weeks before the wedding, and I want to look great because it's a destination wedding, and I got to wear a bikini.
Yeah.
No.
Should have started that about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't even go that route. Like when I get somebody in, I mean, you do this too. I think you always have to listen to the client to see what they want, because otherwise they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to train you if you can't say, yeah, we can do that, but this is what's needed to get to that point. So that's a good starting point, I think. But it also goes deeper. When I have a client that comes in, they're like, I want to lose 30 pounds within the next 2 months. And I'm like, okay, we can definitely work towards that. But what you need right now, based on your medical history and the assessment you just gave me, we need to do this first, this first, this first. And we need to work on this first, this first, this first. Once you have that base of, proper form, a decent strength base, then we can get into working on, doing the more advanced stuff where that weight will come off a lot easier. So let's get into the example. Client shows up and wants to lose exactly 30 pounds within a 3-month time frame. Now this person, the second I met this person, I knew they were for real. Like I knew they were going to put in the work, so that wasn't an issue. So I said to them, I'm like, yeah, we can absolutely do that. What else is it that you're trying to get out of training? What are you trying to get out of your fitness goals? So they're like, well, I want to lose the weight, obviously, but I wouldn't mind, getting a little bit stronger, looking a little better. And nowhere in there, though, was I want to maintain keeping the weight off. I want to maintain a healthy lifestyle. I want to have a good view of my body. I want a healthy mindset and a healthy, headspace. So at the time, again, because I had just started training, not just started, I was about a year into it. And I still feel like, a year into training, you're not that experienced. Like you think you are, and you are, but it's not to the point of like you've had 100 different clients, 200 different clients. It's like you're just into it, right? So with this client, I didn't ask those questions. I looked at them and I was like, yeah, you can definitely lose this 30 pounds based on what you're telling me. Let's do it. They did. They lost that 30 pounds. What the problem was, though, what they actually needed was not only to lose those 30 pounds, it was how to keep that weight off and not binge and not have a bad mindset about their body, not have the body dysmorphia. Not even that, but it was also should have been working on posture, should have been working on flexibility, should have been working more on the strength side of things, the side of the cardio side of things, educating them about the proper way of how to diet and not crash diet, like all these things that, you know, I knew, but I wasn't able to communicate that to them because I was just like, this is what the client needs, and this is what my manager is saying needs to get done, is you have to sell this if you're going to do this.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other story
Yeah.
right there. But I think that I would question whether that client would have been able to give you the information, though, that they really only wanted it for the time being, that once they were done, they were going to start eating again, that they were planning on, because they're not
Yeah.
necessarily planning on it. But we look at April 14th is when I've got to do this thing, so I don't look at April 15th, 16th, 17th.
But but I think you can talk on this well, because I mean, you know, we're going through a show right now. We can both talk about this well, but you have better experience because you've been doing it longer. You know, when you do a show or you train a client, or, you know, you have somebody that you're working with just outside of training, do you ever just tell them this is the date we're going to get to, then screw it?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But you have to really search their mindset to find out what they're into.
Yeah.
You know, the wedding is the prime picture of I've got to get this by this, with no thought as to what that is afterwards. And the goal is more important than the journey to them. So that when you're headed towards it, I just want to lose the weight. I want to lose the weight. I want to lose the weight is what's important. And whether I can maintain it afterwards, I'm not thinking about that.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about, I've got to do this. Now that's where we have to think, what are the needs, and try, I don't like using this word, but try to impose those needs over their wants.
Right.
So that they have the long-term benefit of what we're doing to them.
So how would you do that with a client?
A lot of it's just talking, a lot of it is saying, you know, this is great and we can achieve this, but what do you want to do afterwards? How do you want to go? You know, it's not healthy, and we're doing this all the time with competing. It's not healthy to lose that weight that way.
Yeah.
We know that. What are we going to do afterwards, you know?
Well, this is it. I mean, our first show, it was all about the 20th is the date.
Yeah.
And then after that, we can just eat whatever we want.
And we did.
And we did.
And then I had to pay for it.
And you had to pay for it. And you realize you learn from your mistake. As the fitness coach, you have to be, or as a trainer, whatever you want to call it, you have to be the one that stops them from making that mistake. That's what they're paying you to do. That's what your influence on them is. Again, training, coaching is not just about get me to my goal. It's how do you maintain it past your goal? How do you progress past your goal? How do you alter your mindset to be healthier? It's more, people just go to trainers and they're like, they're going to get me this 30-pound weight loss. And it's like, no, you still got to put in hours of work on yourself to really understand what this lifestyle is going to do for you.
And you have to realize that very often there are psychological reasons beyond what they're giving us.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can't fix your marriage. And losing the weight is not necessarily going to fix your marriage. In fact, losing the weight, empowering yourself by doing the work, could do more damage to your marriage. But if it wasn't good to start off with, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
You know? But so often I get those clients sitting in the chair, ex-hairdresser, who want a fix for something other than what they're initially coming in for.
Right.
And that's where it's difficult as well to ascertain what the needs and wants are.
See, I feel like that, because I've dealt with clients like that, I still do. And I think that's helpful to grow on both sides, because again, it's really hard after a 1-hour consultation to figure out exactly what they need. You can't, and this is why it's like some clients have been with their trainer for 5-6 years. It's not because they could go out and do it on their own, sure. I mean, I have clients that could do it on their own. They just like the idea of having a trainer because it pushes them harder, it keeps them on track. You know, some people just, yeah, I mean, for us, I mean, I even have a coach. You have a coach technically, right? We have people that push us. I think everybody needs that. So this is why people stick with you. But again, after one of my clients, for example, it took me almost like 9 months to a year to truly understand what they were really needing out of the training. And it took hours of listening in that chair as an example of, okay, that makes more sense as why you came in the first place. This makes sense as to why you failed for the past 10 years. That really makes sense as to why you associate this with, bad eating habits. And that really makes sense as to why, if that happens, you'll go binge eat. And then it's, okay, we have the ground level. Let's work on that. And then it trickles down even more and more and more. And you get to that point where it's like, wow, you basically have been somebody's therapist for the past year or 2, 3 years or something like that. And it's finally getting to the point where you, as the trainer, as the coach, finally understand the needs of your client. Where their original want was to be in here for 3 months and lose 30 pounds. And now it's turned into 3 years, maybe still not even lost that 30 pounds because it took so much digging and took so much. It just took more of a mindset goal to make them realize.
And sometimes they realize that it's not about the weight loss, and they didn't need to lose the weight. And if they are fit with that extra weight,
Yep.
then that's fine. Now they're happy with themselves as humans.
Exactly.
And it's a better place to be.
Well, we've talked about this before with the body positivity movement. What it's turned into now, not necessarily the greatest thing ever. But the idea behind that was, you can work out, you can eat, how you want to eat, still eat healthily, obviously. But you could still be 10, 15, 20 pounds overweight and still be happier and healthier at that body weight or that size than you ever could have been 20 pounds underweight or at your goal weight, for example. And I think a lot of that movement has come from, you guys need to look deeper and figure out what that actual problem is. We did this again with the fitness as a mask for insecurity. It is. A lot of the time, people will come in and they use the gym, they use their diet as a mask to try to fix their insecurities, right?
Yeah. A lot of gay men do that exactly. They're afraid of the aging process. They're afraid of being alone if they're single, that sort of thing. And so it's easier to go into the gym for 3 hours a day, and you build a social life up as well as your exercise life.
Yeah.
And you control everything you eat until you binge on the weekend.
Yeah.
So
It's interesting you say control, though. Because I think a lot of the time I'm sure you could talk about this with your clients as well. You have a client coming in that wants to give you control over their life, but then you actually do, and they don't like that.
Yeah.
They want the control, but they're not willing to give up to meet what they want to get, or they don't want to give up what they're willing to, that you're telling them to do.
Well, I'll do everything you say because I want to do this thing.
Yeah.
Except for this, this, and this.
Yeah. The 3 things that I need to actually reach that goal.
Exactly.
Yeah. We both have a mutual friend who, is exactly that, goes into the gym 3 hours a day, has the social aspect, builds up the body, came off a divorce. And that is exactly what they do. They come in and they use it to get control over their life again. Now, is that healthy? That's up for debate. Because again, fitness is healthy. Fitness is supposed to be good for you. But
fitness taken to the level of mania is not. And I'm doing a double split routine, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, not including my cardio.
We've been there.
That's not healthy.
And this is it. We talk about this kind of stuff, and we're bodybuilders. This is tough to, it's kind of hypocritical, but we understand where we're at, right? But we do this for 14, it's been like, the amount of shows that have been canceled. Yeah. It's probably been, by the time we compete, it would be like, 20 weeks? Yeah. Something like
20
that.
20 weeks of prep.
Oh, jeez. This is what we do, though. We do our morning cardio for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Then we work out. Then we do another 45 minutes of cardio. So we're doing like 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
And our food is extremely controlled. And you go...
But here's the difference. I cannot believe I'm saying this about myself.
Okay.
I'm an elite athlete.
Yeah.
What I do is not what I'm going to train other people to do.
Exactly.
Because they are not. They are people with regular lives and regular jobs and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
An Olympian does what an Olympian has to do to be an Olympian.
Yeah.
But they don't expect their cousin to do the same thing.
Well, this is
Right?
it. Yeah.
Necessarily.
How many times do you get clients coming to you and say they want this, but they know that because you're a bodybuilder, they're scared that you're going to make them do this.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
I can't do the chicken and
women
rice
think
diet.
I'm going to make them big?
Right?
You know, I'm not going to make.
Well,
you big.
it goes deeper than that. I've had men that come to me and they say the same thing. I don't want to be eating chicken and rice 5 times a day, and I don't want to get massive like you. I'm like, thank you for thinking I'm massive. That's all I heard.
Because I look in the mirror and I see you.
But this is it, and that goes back to the needs of the client. They don't want that. They don't need that. So what do? We have to actually, as coaches, we need to listen. And it's more than just hearing, I want to lose 30 pounds. It's listening and then questioning and being, okay, where can we go from that goal? How can we break that down into the branches of how we may be able to achieve that? And also, again, turbulence will hit. How do we navigate through the bad times so we can come out healthier on the other side? Because you look at these people, and this was a hard thing for both of us. If we're going to call ourselves elite athletes, which I guess we actually are at this point, you don't look at clients at first. You think that everybody is similar to you in the sense that they're willing to give up. I shouldn't say give up, but just for the sake of making it sound easier, give up your social life, give up the pizza, give up the beer, give up the date night, stuff like that. You're willing to give that up for 12 to 16 weeks to do a show because that is what is important to you. Our clients aren't that. Our clients are coming to us because they enjoy their lifestyle and they want to make fitness a part of their lifestyle, but not make fitness the lifestyle. Yeah. Where we are, fitness is a lifestyle. Our life revolves around that. And that's the way we enjoy it. Our clients aren't the same. No. So we, as coaches, have to be very aware of that. We have to ask the questions and we have to make sure they want this, but they need this. We need to ask them the questions to make sure we completely understand where they're coming from, why they want to do this, how they think it's going to change their life, and explain to them, and exactly what you said, kind of impose the idea on them that this is what you actually need. Yeah. Sometimes we're wrong. Hasn't happened yet.
Really, you're lucky.
I have to say, in my over 5 years, it hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
I've been lucky like that. But again, it comes down to listening.
I can't say I have. I honestly, any issue I may have had was with clients whose issues were more deep-seated than I had the ability to do.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think that's something that has to be thought of as well.
Yeah.
We aren't therapists. We may work that way sometimes, but when it really comes down to it, at a certain point, I need to say to a client, have you considered maybe seeing a therapist?
Yeah, I've said that before too.
Because
yeah.
I can't help you with that. The other thing that I want to stress is that experience level has a lot to do with it too. As you said, and yes, when we first started, the way we trained was completely different from the way we train now. Because now we do listen to the clients. As a baby trainer, I thought everybody had to do the same sort of stuff. I know these exercises.
Yeah. This is what worked for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except they didn't want to be like me.
Exactly.
So I had to learn that, and it's very strange considering how I have grown a love for running. But yeah. I had to realize that is what some people, that's what they want out of the gym.
Yeah.
They want to be better runners. So let's work on that. Walter, you need to learn how to help them do that.
Yeah.
Instead of going, well, you need to lift this weight, because that's what I do. Right?
Yeah. I think it took me until I had actual varsity university level athletes, like scholarship level athletes, coming to me, I guess 3 or 4 years ago. That's where it was like, yeah, they want to be strong. Great, I can help them with that. And I've always been good with conditioning work. I just never imposed it on my clients because I was like, everybody just wants to look good. Everybody comes to me and they say they want to lose 30 pounds or gain 10 pounds of muscle, or they want to look better in their clothes. So whereas these people, they showed up and they were like, we need to perform better.
Yeah.
And you rarely get that. You get people that are like, yeah, rehab, I want to be able to walk up the stairs without a, sore back. And I've had that before too. A lot of that, actually. I have a lot of rehab clients, and that's, his thing is in its own sense. But even with them, it's, I want to get back to the shape I was in so I can feel better about my body and, maybe lose a couple of pounds because of this injury, I gained 10 pounds.
Because of the injury.
These people came in and it was a shock. I was like, holy, I have to program now for performance. Yeah. It's not just about lifting the weight. It's getting stronger. It's getting faster, more flexible. Movement is the name of the game for these people.
And yet, shouldn't that be the name of the game for all of us? Performance.
Yeah.
Now, mobility training, all those things are coming into play much more strongly.
Yeah.
And I think, and particularly with some of my older clients, it is about performance. It is about being able to walk. And we may not be fixing an issue, but we want to maintain or improve on an issue.
Exactly. And I think this year has been, with COVID, it's been a blessing because I've rearranged, overlooked, I guess, a lot of those ideas that I knew were really important, but it was just kind of, I was listening to the client, and there was times where I just, I knew some of my clients needed this and they needed that, but they were so adamant on this. And now it's getting to the point where, okay, I've pretty much, for all of my clients now, because of COVID, I've reprogrammed. And I program no longer at like 12-week programs, because things can happen in 4 weeks. Things can happen in 2 weeks. So now it's shortening up those programs to 4 weeks. Even as an example, I had one client who, just this week, I started him on a new program, and I'm already changing that program for tomorrow. And it's been 1 week because I realized it wasn't going to work for him. Mm-hmm. He wants to get stronger, but I looked at his needs, and this program wasn't for him. Reassess, redo. And you go, and I think that's the biggest thing, is constantly looking at both, not only your client, but at yourself, and realizing, how can I be better for this person? Mm. And that's a huge thing that a lot of people that we've worked with, we just go through the motions sometimes because we think, they have to get there. Yeah. If they listen to me, they have to get there, but that's not what they need.
No, it's listening is the greatest skill that we could develop. Mm-hmm. Although, I will say this as well, thanks to COVID, I have gone back to school over and over and over.
Yes, yeah. You've done courses. You redid a few courses.
I redid some courses, and I'm really and that has forced me to re-examine my methodology.
Exactly. Well, I'm waiting for that. I'm planning on doing that as well. Mm. And that's it. It's looking at your methodology, looking at the way you're programming things. I'm going to plug my training in right now. Vici Training. Because I started a gym in my house, I want it to be based off a certain style. It can't just be the whole mumbo jumbo of, I do everything. Yeah. This is this is that. I can get you to wherever you want to be. I can, honestly. I can get a rehab client to where they need to be. I can get a weight loss client to where they need to be. Strength client where they need to be. But I want to focus on exactly what that client needs. And I will tell them straight up, because now this is my gym. This is my business. I can go to them and say, if you're not willing to understand that this is what you need, unfortunately, we can't work together. In gym settings that I've been in before, unfortunately, that's not the way things go, because you get a manager breathing down your neck. Where's my $10,000 from the client? Why, that was a $10,000 sale over the next year. Why isn't it? And that's not, they don't need me as their trainer. They need her or him as their trainer. I'm not the right fit. So I will straight up tell somebody that now. Yeah. And I think that's a big problem too.
I think though as well, I've gotten, with experience, I've reached the same sort of level where it's like, you don't really need to pay A, what I charge as opposed to what they charge.
Yeah.
And B, I look for team members. They are members of my team. We are working together to achieve a goal together.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to have to just go, no, push, 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 and you're going to fight back, then you're not a member of my team.
Well, we were talking about this earlier. You've had a couple of trainers leave the gym, right?
Yeah.
And there's a couple of clients that are looking for trainers now.
And
You may not be the right fit.
No.
Because they're not the right fit for you.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, whether you have the ability to train someone or you have the affinity to train someone
Sure,
are
yeah.
two different things.
Yeah.
And I think that you have to be aware. I mean, I also have to be happy.
That makes a big
know?
difference. It does. People don't realize it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. If I'm enjoying my clients, because we are a team, then everything goes smoothly and it's great.
Yeah.
If I'm having to fight with you, if I'm having to bite my tongue because you keep making racist remarks, stuff like that, there's an issue.
Yeah.
And I'm not happy, and why should I put myself through that?
Best person I've ever trained was in that. So the gym Walter and I used to work at together was basically the village gym. And this client apparently didn't know that. And he was homophobic as hell. And he would literally go off about how he hated being on Church Street and being around Church Street and this and that. I'm like, you do realize where you are right now, right?
Yeah.
But again, I had just started training. I was exactly what you said, biting my tongue because I'm like, what do I say? I'm going to lose a client and, I can't do that. Like, my manager's going to wonder why I, let this client go. And, okay, I'll just be like, let's change the subject.
At any rate, the important thing is to communicate, listen,
Yeah.
and I think reassess. That's an important thing.
Always.
That you brought up.
Yeah.
That it's funny because I will answer people on social media who are talking about changing their program again because it's been 2 weeks and it's not working.
Yeah.
And I will say, it's not a good idea necessarily to change your program on a regular basis.
Exactly.
Or that fast. However, if you're working one-on-one with someone and you can see that this is the issue, this is going to be a better
Then we
fit,
can change that.
then you can reassess and change it.
We're at the point now with our own training. I'll go to my coach or you'll come to me and I'll say I'm too high of a body fat. I'm not making any gains at the moment.
Yeah.
Because my insulin sensitivity is just shot. You can do the same. You come to me and you're like, I think I should diet. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I didn't even notice that. But you're at that point. I'm at that point where I'll go to my coach, she'll come to me or whatever, and we'll be like, yeah. Our clients don't know that.
No.
Right? That's where they come
They
to us
can't
for the
read
expertise.
themselves well enough to know that.
Exactly. They come for our expertise, and that's what it is. We're experts in the field of body transformation, of strength training, of conditioning. I wouldn't say necessarily experts in rehabilitation, but we have a decent idea.
It's getting there.
It's getting there.
And it's something to learn.
Yeah, I'm not going to say we're, been physios for the past 10 years, right?
No.
There's obviously better people for that, but we know what to do. We know who to tell them to go see if we can't deal with it. And I think that's the big part in this whole culture of if you have a coach, make sure they're asking you the questions and reassessing, because that is a huge red flag if they're not willing to listen to you and answer your questions. You should be able to ask your coach a question as, why are we doing this? And if they can't answer within 5-10 seconds, the fifth grade answer,
Yeah.
then they're not the right person. If they come to you and they give you this huge long, and I've accidentally do this because I find this stuff intriguing. I'll give them a 10-minute answer as to why we're doing this, and it's like, what? And it's like, sorry, it's because of this. And they're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what you need out of your trainer.
We do tend to get involved in our own speech sometimes.
We like to hear ourselves talk. That's why we have a podcast.
Yeah. Well, I never even thought about that, but you're right. It is. Okay.
Anyways,
But I think we've spoken enough
that's true.
for this. Okay.
So, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, DM us, message us, leave a comment, ask us any questions you want. We always are willing to answer.
This is a conversation.
Yeah, we want to
Yeah.
talk to you guys, right? So please, by all means, send us your questions. if you have about anything, really, anything that we're willing to talk about.
No eggplants, okay? No eggplants.
Leave it at that.
Yeah.
Ask us questions. As again, keep following our Instagram. We're 6 weeks out now. Knock on wood, it doesn't get canceled again. Our competition. So keep following our journey, because we're both getting to that point where, you know, we're super excited, but also, you know, starting to go a little brain dead from the diet and the amount of cardio.
But I'm finally starting to see the results I want on myself, which is a really good thing.
Exactly. Yeah, no, you looked great today. So keep up. Stay tuned for Monday to see our weekly updates. Tuesday's our recipe, Thursday's our workout, and of course Wednesday is our upload. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
right.
there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm Matthew.
Walter,
This is Total Fitness Podcast. Take care, guys.
wash your hands, wear a mask.
Stay safe.